Welcome back to Silver Thread Sewing. I'm Diane. This is Friday Sews. So as always, I hope everyone's well. As you can see, I'm not in my sewing room today. The only sewing that I've done is actually related to the life portion of today's video. So I have worked in my sewing room the first part of the week some. I got the curtains up over my fabric, so that looks a little neater, and I like the curtains because they'll keep the light and the dust off the fabric, and I can just take them down because they're just on little tension rods. So I've got some pictures of that, and I did get some storage, these little trays that go in those shallow drawers that are on the little workbench things. So I've got some of my stuff in there and organized, but I still have to go through like my needles and get all that separated back out, because when I moved it out of my old sewing table, I just kind of haphazardly throwed everything in boxes and tubs and stuff, and now I'm trying to get everything reorganized. So I'm just going to talk just for a sec. I'll show you the pictures of my sewing room, the curtains, and kind of how it's looking now. I've got a lot more floor space, but I still want to do a proper show you around the sewing room and show you kind of what's different and what's the same. And I will do that as soon as I can. But the live portion of today's video, we had to take Salem back and have a consultation on Wednesday with the surgeon at the veterinary hospital. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away. And so we did that on Wednesday. And the surgeon wanted us to bring her back on Thursday, which was yesterday, and have surgery to remove those lumps in her neck. So I'm looking at her now, and I'll turn you around so you can see her. Hi, Salem. Do you feel like saying hi to everybody? She said, I'm not quite feeling myself today. I have a bandage, and Mom's tied a bandana around it. So the vet said that Salem did fine with the surgery, the anesthesia, and all that. But when she got in there, she felt like that it might not just be the salivary gland. She felt as though it might be like a mass. She said it didn't look the way the salivary gland should have looked. So she did remove it, and they were going to do pathology and let us know in 7 to 10 days if it was cancerous or not. I tell myself that if it had been, they've done 2 needle biopsies, and I keep thinking if it had been cancer, they would have been able to tell that. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But she got to come home last night. We were down in Hickory all day yesterday for about 8 hours. And Greg and I, we went out and we went to the mall, and neither one of us wanted to walk through the mall. And I don't know, we just went and sat in the parking lot in the car and waited till we could go back and get her. And they did call us and let us know how she was doing and all that, so that was nice. They put a cone, one of those plastic cones, around her neck and head to keep her from scratching her. It's kind of under her chin and down in her neck. So that cone was rigid plastic, and if you've ever seen them or had to deal with them, they're hard, and they're actually kind of sharp. It's a really thin plastic, and it just went right over her little incision, and she looked at me just horrified. I couldn't stand it. So we took that cone off in the car, and I had a pillow, and I sat in the back seat with her till we got home and let her lay down. And she did well, but she was starved when we came home. She hadn't eaten in like 24 hours. So Greg fed her supper, and we just kind of watched her really closely. And she's on antibiotic, of course, and all that, but an anti-inflammatory. But she slept good last night, and we've just been sitting with her kind of and making sure she doesn't try to scratch her neck, because that cone is it's torturous. So I don't know. I did make, when we came home yesterday, the only sewing I've done was related to her. I took some flannel, and I had some foam, just some real thin sewing foam that I've used in tote bags and stuff, and I cut out just a rectangle of flannel and a rectangle of that foam, and then I took quilt batting and wrapped around that foam, and I just sewed up the ends and the one long side and the other end and left a hole in the middle, and just kind of made a little kind of a collar type thing to go around her neck, put Velcro on each end of it so it would fasten in the back. And that way, when we have to be out of the room or if we take her outside so she won't get dirt or anything in that, we just put that collar around, and then we put her on her harness. We can't put a collar on her, and take her out like that so she won't get dirt or anything to get infected. Hopefully that's going to work. So I did sew that, and I may make her another one that's a little bit more narrow or a little less wide. I don't know which way you say that, so that it'll be a little more comfortable for her. And then last night to sleep, I just rolled up kind of a bandana, kind of probably 1.5 inches wide, and just tied it around her neck. It's not tight, but it will keep her, like if she was to start to scratch, I would know, I'd wake up, but that would keep her from hurting herself. So that's about the extent of my sewing. My fabric wheel of fate, I have my fabric cut out and everything ready, but I've not been able to get it done. But I did want to just pop on long enough to just let you guys know why I'm not sewing right now and why I couldn't finish my big plans I had. That's, it's how it goes. And right now she's our priority. We take her back in a couple weeks to have the stitches out. And so we've just got to look after her a little extra while she's going through this. But I'll share pictures, hopefully. I took a couple in the car after I took the cone off, and she and I sat in the back seat. And but she did really well, and I think she's going to feel okay once all the sedation and all that wears off. I think she'll be okay. And I hope that I'll get to be in the sewing room actually sewing some this week too. So I did want to share with you one thing that I've been listening to a lot this week while I've been with Salem. My son-in-law is doing a podcast, and it's called The Average Pursuit. And I've really been enjoying that a lot. And I think some of you might, some might not, but I'm going to share a link to his podcast below. It's called, like I said, The Average Pursuit. And if you want to listen to it, I think you would really enjoy it. And he actually made the little intro at the beginning of my video. He did that for me. So thanks so much, Jonathan. And if anybody wants to hear his podcast, I would love for you to listen and see what you think. But I think that's all I had to share with you, so it's not very much. It'll be a short video. But did want to thank everybody for your concern about Salem and keeping up with her, and those of you that pray for praying for her. And we are very, very hopeful that it won't be anything serious and that she can recover from this and go on to be her little usual self for a long, long time to come. But I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I hope if you want to sew that you get to. And just remember, if you love to sew, don't ever give up, because as long as you sew, you'll never have time or money to get into any trouble. Just ask me how I know. Thanks so much, guys.